Come, they told me, per-rum-pa-pum-pum, a newborn king to see, per-rum-pa-pum-pum. Our finest gifts to give, per-rum-pa-pum-pum. I'll play my drum for you, per-rum-pa-pum-pum, rum-pa-pum-pum, rum-pa-pum-pum. Then he smiled at me, per-rum-pa-pum-pum. Now, that's a short little bit of my favourite Christmas carol. Now, it's not my favourite Christmas carol because I've always wanted to play the drums. I mean, I would love to be a drummer in a rock and roll band. Probably a little bit more like Animal No from the Muppets and less like the Drummer Boy. But luckily for you watching and listening, I can't play the drums or any musical instrument. No, Little Drummer Boy is my favourite Christmas carol because it's about communication. And it's communication that I think is so important. It's the driver in life. Of all the gifts given to the baby Jesus, the gold, the frankincense, and the myrrh, the one that got the biggest reaction was a little boy's smile, the question if he could play, and the sound of his music. That's what was most valued. Communication. Now, communication is one thing we learn throughout our lives from the moment that we're born. And it's a skill that we develop that enables us to share our feelings and emotions and create contacts and build friendships and relationships with other people. And if we're very good at it, then we should share it and give that gift to other people, like the Little Drummer Boy. Now, 2020 has been an awful year. Absolutely terrible for some. But for a lot of us, it was the fact that we just had to give up a few things. You know, we gave up holidays, we gave up travel, we gave up the movies, the gold, the frankincense, and the myrrh. But we also gave up connection, intimacy, relationships, the drumbeat of life, if you like. But 2021 is just around the corner. And with it comes a vaccine. And also here in Australia, borders are opening. We are now able to travel all across Australia, see friends, see family, see loved ones, make those connections, communicate to each other face to face and touch, which is so important. But for some people, the opening up the borders and the lowering of the restraints around COVID is going to have very little impact on them at all. Their life isn't going to change. Their life is going to stay in shutdown. 20% of Australians suffer from a disability. To put that in another way, that's 1 in 5. Over 4 million Australians suffer a disability. And what makes a disability? Well, it's an impairment. And if you go and Google impairments, there's a list of hundreds of them. But it's not really the impairment that makes you disabled. Is that impairment prevents you from interacting with your environment and holds you back, that's when it becomes a disability. Now, as I said, I've looked at the list, I've read them. In fact, I can probably find 2 or 3 of them in there that I have. But I don't see myself as disabled, so they don't impact on my environment. But for a lot of people, they do. Now, I work for Lonsdale House. It's also known as Hervey Bay Daycare and Respite Centre. I'm really glad they call it Lonsdale House. And my role there is to assist people to fulfill their lives, to give them the choices to enable them to feel alive, to feel as though they're gaining something and to feel as though they're giving something. And one of the big things I do is I help people engage with the community, take people out. It's one of the biggest goals people with a disability have, to be able to go outside and feel safe and not threatened. And if they need it, to give them assistance, to do the things that they want to do. And while I'm out in the community, lots of people say hello to me. A lot of people don't even make eye contact with the people that I'm with. And if having a disability means that you can't engage in your environment, then let us as the community not be their major impediment. Remember, I've looked at the list of impediments. Rabies isn't one of them. People with a disability aren't going to bite you. Just make eye contact and say hello. It's a great start. Now, it's nearly Christmas. And from this day on, I think the challenge for all of us is to be just like the little drummer boy. And people with a disability don't need our money. They don't need our sympathy. And they don't need our charity, the gold, the frankincense, and the myrrh. What they want and what they need is our communication, our empathy, and if they ask, our assistance. Next time you see somebody with a disability, just pretend you're the little drummer boy and play your drum for them, pa-rum-pa-pum-pum.